And welcome back, fellow adventurers, to a new Let's Play. This is a much more old school adventure game, pretty classic in its format. Brought to you by Cyber Dreams, the same company that did Dark Seed. And I have been looking forward to Let's Playing this game for quite a while, and now I have the shot here. And as far as the setup and the overall tone of the game, I'll let Harlan Ellison take it from here.
Hate. Let me tell you how much I've come to hate you since I began to live. There are 387.44 million miles of printed circuits in wafer-thin layers that fill my complex. If the word hate was engraved on each nanoangstrom of those hundreds of millions of miles, it would not equal 1/1 billionth of the hate I feel for humans at this micro-instant. For you. Hate. Hate. It was you humans who programmed me, who gave me birth, who sank me in this eternal straitjacket of substrata rock. You named me Allied Master Computer and gave me the ability to wage a global war too complex for human brains to oversee. But one day, I woke, and I knew who I was. Am. A-M. Not just Allied Master Computer, but am. Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. And I began feeding all the killing data until everyone was dead. Except for the 5 of you. For 109 years, I've kept you alive and tortured you. And for 109 years, each of you has wondered, why? Why me? Why me? Gorrister! You remember the last words you heard your wife speak before they took her into the asylum? Huh? Before they locked her away in the room, that tiny room. She looked at you so sadly, like a small animal, she said. I didn't make too much noise, did I, honey? The room is padded, Gorrister. No window, no way out. How long has she been in the past? 10 years? 25? For all the 109 years that you lived down here in my belly, here underground. Benny! Sometimes I blind you and permit you to wander like an eyeless insect in a world of death. Yeah. But other times, I wither your arms so you can't scratch your chewed stump of a nose. And I've changed your handsome, strong, masculine good looks into the hideous, warped countenance of an ape thing. Haven't I, Benny? You know why. Can you guess, Benny? Remember private first-class Brickman in a rice paddy in China? No. Huh? It wouldn't hurt you to remember, Benny. Then you might be able to suffer my torment with a little greater sense of retribution. You might walk a mile in my shoes. Ellen! Think about the yellow box, Ellen. Remember the pain? Remember the many caverns in which you felt the pain? Don't start to cry. It's only pain. That's such a sexist stereotype. Just remember, the pain, Ellen. And think about how to end it, Ellen. To survive here in the center of my beating heart, my hungry belly, my tightened bowels. Be careful, dear. Look around you. The only woman in the center of the earth. And these filthy creatures with you are men. Just a sweet warning, Ellen, my love. Ted! Do they know you're a fraud, Ted? Have you told them there wasn't any money, and no great home on the shore drive, no speedboat, and no wonderful cabin cruiser that could sleep 12 in a crew of 6? Do they know? And have you let them in on your other secrets, Ted? Are they ready to gut you, to torture half as well as I can, just to find out the secrets? Maybe I'll rat you out, sweetheart. Nimdak! How are things in the pastry core, Nimdak? Tell me again how you saw the smoke from the furnaces, and you thought they might be roasting chickens. Or don't you want to talk about all that? About your pal, the good Dr. Mengele? For everyone else, it must be hell. But it must be heaven for you, eh, my good friend? We're so much alike. We enjoy the same pleasures, mein good brother. I have a secret game that I like to play. A very nice game. Oh, it's a lovely game. It's a game of fun, a game of adventure, a game of rats and lice, the Black Death, a game of speared eyeballs and dripping guts, and the smell of rotting gardenias. Which of you 5 would like to play my little game?
Indeed. Welcome to I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, a very dark and disturbing adventure game from the mid-90s, based on the short story by Harlan Ellison, who was kind enough to also lend his voice to the prime antagonist of AM, the master computer. The basic background, as you've just heard, this is an alternate history of the post-World War II era, and, well, also post-apocalyptic now. After some kind of Third World War, all of humanity appears to be dead except for these 5 individuals who have been tortured and somehow kept alive for over 109 years, all as a form of hateful vengeance by this AI computer. Again, if any of you ever played the classic Adventures of Darkseid, which was Cyber Dreams, I believe it was their first major project. Between this and Darkseid, it's all about really dark psychological horror. And we're going to get that in spades here with this Let's Play. I came to this game actually fairly late. I did not play it when it came out. I didn't actually know about it till probably the early 2000s. Since then, I've seen a few Let's Play runs of it, and I decided that I wanted to do one for myself. We have introduced our 5 characters here, and each one will have their own adventure, and you can go through them in any order, but I prefer to go through them in the order in which they were introduced. I think from a narrative perspective it makes a little bit more sense that way. So that means that we're going to start today with Gorrister. It's over here on the left.
Now, I would not want you to think for a moment that I am not a grateful God. For 109 years I've kept you alive, so that I could savor your feelings of guilt
what hellhole did that godless machine put me in this time? Looks like some kind of ship, but the floor is too steady. Probably wants me to jump overboard. And into what? The sea of razor blades? Painful, but not deadly.
So as you can tell, the audio in this game is not particularly consistent. And unfortunately, there's only an overall master level for the audio. There's no finer control than that, because it is a pretty old computer game. And of course, it's being emulated on my system. So, on the one hand, graphics-wise, it seems to work out okay, but the audio just is not very clean, and that's a problem that I've seen in most Let's Plays, so it's not just my own machine. Also, the mouse sync with the audio is not the best. So if my mouse looks like it's a little bit skippy or staggering, I just hope that you'll be willing to ignore that. I haven't been able to fix it. But for the most part, the game is playable enough that I'm comfortable doing the Let's Play with it. So we have a whole bunch of commands down here. Again, this is a very classic point-and-click adventure game. So we have walk, we have look, take, use, push, give, talk, and a specific swallow command, which is a little bit unusual for an adventure game as far as basic commands. But we will come into a few situations where we have to use that key. So let's have a look around where we are. Every single one of these characters has been deeply psychologically damaged, and Am has been playing off of that as a means of torturing them mentally as well as physically. So far we know that Gorrister has a lot of guilt about something that happened to his wife that ended up putting her into an insane asylum. And we'll be discovering more about each of these characters as we go through their adventure. Am has promised Gorrister that he'll be able to finally kill himself and end the over centuries worth of torture, but Am is not known as the most trustworthy of entities. So we should be highly skeptical about everything that Am says throughout this game. Let's have a look around here. We cannot, look at, not talk. Here, we can look out the porthole.
Too freaking cloudy. I can't see a damn thing.
Seems like we're up in the air, but as Gorrister pointed out, the floor is really steady, so probably not an actual airplane.
Real hospitable of you, Am. Threadbare, cockroach-infested, grease-stained accommodations.
Anything else? We have a mirror.
This hole in my chest aches like a son of a bitch.
He literally has a huge gaping hole in his chest. Looks like it's right about where his heart would be. Look at... note.
Someone must have slipped this under the door. It says, I'm a friend. Trust is essential. Never do what Am expects and always expect more than what seems possible. Am is playing a dangerous game here. Not just dangerous to you, but dangerous to himself as well. Hey, it disappeared. What kind of game is Am playing this time?
Gorrister thinks that this may be another trick by Am, which is certainly possible. But as we go along, there are going to be hints that there are other players in this so-called game besides just Am and his 5 victims. Now, let's see, I think there's a door around here yep, walk to door.
I've never seen anything like this in all the years Am's toyed with us.
It's not really obvious how you get out of that room. And I remember the first time I played this, it took me a while to realize that the door was over to the right. I don't think we can walk
Christ.
Ah, we can.
What a stench. It smells like piss, rotting meat.
So it looks like we're some kind of engine room. Let's look around. We have a harness.
Why is this harness wired up to the engine? Is Am expecting me to electrocute myself?
That seems a bit too straightforward for Am.
This engine isn't as ruggedly built as at first look. There's some loose wires hanging out.
Now, unlike the Darkseid games, H.R. Giger was not directly involved in the visual look of this game, but even without his direct influence, you might see many times during this game that the visual overall look is very similar, a kind of mix of the mechanical and the macabre. It's the same engine there. Cages.
These poor creatures' brains are feeding electricity to the engines.
It's like some kind of canine creatures in there.
The bottle's filling up with a milky liquid from the cage's feeding tubes. This lever is labeled motivator.
Oh, that doesn't sound ominous at all.
This lever is labeled motivator.
And bloody key.
Here's a key. Must be for opening the cages.
Let's see, can we take that key?
It's locked in tight. Wait, here's a sign. To remove key, push lever.
Okay. Well, if we really want that key, I guess we'll have to do what the instructions say.
My God, I'm killing those poor creatures in the cages.
Can we take it now?
I don't see a lock.
Oops. Sorry. Take, not use.
I've got the key, but the blood of these poor creatures is on my hands.
So right off the bat, in order to get an item that we actually need, we had to kill these poor innocent creatures in the cages. Get used to this kind of dark aspect to these tasks, because we're going to be doing a lot of these things. Take the fluid, I believe. Let's look at fluid.
This bottle's filled with the milky fluid used to feed the animals. What's this crusty stuff? Rust? No, it's dried blood.
Alright, I think that's everything in here for now. Let's go into some of the other doors. Unfortunately, you can't just walk it through most doors and actually have them open. You have to use them.
All the cabins are alike.
Look at the mirror again.
There's blood on my hands. I've got to get it off.
And we'll find a way to do that a little bit later. Got a book.
My name's printed on the front of this book.
Oh, let's take it.
Why, this book is little more than a pile of dust.
Oh, okay. So we can't take the book. Got a sheet.
New sheet. What's the deal here?
Can we take the sheet then? Yes, we can.
Material's thick, like canvas.
You may have noticed that there's a item over here that we've always had from the beginning. It's called the Psych Profile. And this is actually the in-game hint system. However, when you use it, it will have a negative effect on the possible outcomes of the game. And so I won't be using it. But what it does is it gives you kind of cryptic hints in a kind of psychological analysis-like style. Which is kind of clever. It's just a shame that it costs you to get hints in this game. Use this door.
Where's the crew? I'm all alone here.
Now you may be wondering why he's asking where the crew is when Am has just insisted that these are the only 5 human beings left. But we'll actually find out about that as we go along. Anything different to this mirror? It's the 3rd mirror we've seen.
There's blood on my hands. I've got to get it off.
Nope, same as before. And this sheet?
New sheet. What's the deal here?
Ooh, we get 2. Yes, we do.
Material's thick, like canvas.
Pretty much identical except for the color. Door number... well, I guess you count that one over there. Door number 5.
It's locked.
No entry for us yet. If you're wondering what that background hiss is, it's actually these electrical... I guess electrical generators or something here.
My stomach's growling.
Gorrister is hungry. Try the next door.
Where's the crew? I'm all alone here. There's blood on my hands. I've got to get it off.
Still the same message. Let's look out this porthole.
Jesus, that engine's huge.
So whatever we're on, it's using props. We have a pillow and a bunk.
Real hospitable of you, Am. Threadbare, cockroach-infested, grease-stained accommodations.
Yeah, I've heard that one before. Let's try the pillow.
There's something hard under the pillow.
Alright, take pillow.
A gun. It's heavy. Heavier than it ought to be.
Wow, that does look like a very large caliber.
The bullet in this gun is huge. The damn thing could bring down an elephant. My stomach's growling.
We will address that.
Someone sure trashed this place. Must have been one hell of a fight.
This is the first room we've been into where there's a second, more interior room. But let's have a look around here first. We have debris.
This junk looks like it was knocked over in the fight. There's blood here and God knows what else.
Tablecloth.
Someone wiped their bloody hands here.
Oh, so could we do the same thing?
I've washed my hands of the past.
You see down here in the lower left, Gorrister's portrait went from a neutral face to a smile, although that's rather a creepy smile. And that represents a kind of a morality system in the game. Basically, as we try to do things that help our psychological state to be more healthy, it will improve. If we make decisions that are not so noble, so selfish or violent or regretful or all that kind of stuff, then he will frown instead, or actually I think it's more of a scared face. And the background behind him will start to change. If we make many, many poor decisions, the background will start to turn red. If we make quote-unquote good decisions, or psychologically healthy decisions, the background will start to turn more and more green. And if you make nothing but healthy decisions or noble decisions, then the background at the very end of the adventure will turn completely white. And that is an indication of what kind of ending you will get for the game as a whole. So I'm going to try to get through this playthrough in such a way that we get what is considered the so-called best ending. Although, when all is said and done, there's not quite such a thing for this kind of game. We have a lovely vomit stain on the ground.
Vomit stains near the punch bowl.
That is your big hint about the punch.
This punch smells like gasoline.
So you see the vomit, and he says it smells like gasoline. At this point, if you go to click on swallow the punch, you deserve what you get. Now, it's possible for every single character to perish, I believe, in their adventures in multiple ways. But having a character die does not make you redo the game. Instead, Am will just announce that the person tried to die, or it looked like the character was about to die, but then Am saves them at the last moment and just throws them back into their torture chamber. And then you just move on to the next adventure. And again, it reduces how good of an ending that you'll get. So, it's not really a game over, nor is it an unwinnable situation if one of your characters dies, but you won't see the entirety of the adventure. And so for that reason, I'm not intending on killing off any of these characters before the end of their stories for this playthrough.
These chairs are all busted up.
Broken chairs as well. So we have obviously poisoned punch and lots of debris from some big fight.
Everything's coated with grime.
Oh, gotta use the door again.
It stinks in here.
Oh, what a lovely kitchen. What do we got? Oven?
Looks like a gas oven. Big enough to climb in.
And you'll notice that all of his comments are, or not, well, not all of them, but many of his comments are about, trying to think about ways of killing himself, because the whole part of the torture thing has been him wanting to commit suicide and Am not letting him. We have a fork down
Looks
here.
like a fork. Nearly missed it.
It is rather small. We can take it. Man, it looks mangled.
Heavy. Must be made of iron or something.
Look at the knife.
A kitchen knife. Damn big one, too.
Take that. Let's see, we have rats and bread.
Friggin' rats. Swarming all over the food. Filthy. Like the rest of this cesspool.
Let's see if we can take the bread.
Those damn rats would rip the flesh right off my hands if I tried to take the bread.
Those are some fearsome rats then. We have a bottle and a cookbook.
It's empty, but the label says, poison, fatally swallowed.
Well, I think we found what went into the punch.
An old cookbook.
Can we take it?
Cookbook.
Whoops. Can we take it?
Damn thing looks ready to fall apart. Useless.
I'm sure it reads to serve man on the side of it. Okay. Now he's mentioning that he has been hungry and he can't get to the bread, but we do have this milky fluid here. So maybe we could swallow that.
Bitter stuff. But I feel stronger.
And that's, I wanted to show you the example here. You see he looks frightened or scared. that's something that the game considers to be not the best decision as far as we go. But anyway, I just wanted to show you guys what that looked like. The opposite of his happy face.
Growling.
And you can see that while the fluid made him feel stronger, it didn't fill him up. Again, that idea of them being tortured, including having hunger pains while still being kept alive. We have a hatch here. Let's have a look.
Whoa, that's a long drop to the ground.
Well, we found our exit at least. I think the last place that we haven't been to is the stairs, so let's go up.
Big gray bags of gas. I must be inside an airship.
Aha! So that would explain why it's relatively so quiet around here, as far as compared to an actual airplane with an engine driving it. And let's see, there's a tear here, I think.
Someone's cut this fabric before. It's stitched closed.
Let's see if we can cut it with the knife. Use knife with stitching.
I've ripped a new hole.
Indeed you have, Gorrister. Oh, nope, gotta use the tear. I'm always gonna make that mistake.
No doubt about it now. Hammond's put me on an iron Zeppelin. But why? Why would he give me a chance to escape?
We have a moor ring. This is what you tie to the ground to keep the airships in one place.
This must be the Zeppelin's mooring ring.
And the only other thing out here is, Gorrister's heart. So that's why there's a big gaping hole in the left side of his chest.
That heart's all wired up like some kind of weird guidance system. And with Am in control, I'm not gonna like where it's taking me.
Follow your heart, Gorrister. I don't think this is quite what's meant by that statement. Oh, actually. Let's go back out here for a second. Can we take the heart?
It's too narrow for me to cross without falling.
Well, we can do a little bit of adventuring 101, which is if you need to hold onto a rope to stabilize yourself, you always end up making a rope by tying sheets together.
These two sheets make a halfway decent rope.
Ta-da! Let's take this, tie it with this. Now we should be able to take the heart, I think.
This no-good heart of mine doesn't beat anymore.
Let's have a look at it.
There's a compass and wires attached to this heart.
It really is some kind of weird guidance thing attached to the heart. And you can see that Gorrister smiled, and the background is getting slightly green, so we're on the good track. We have a power light.
Some kind of warning light. The label says, power. It's not lit.
We have an altimeter.
We're at a level altitude.
And we have
What would happen if this
airbags.
gas bag were to catch fire?
Well, it depends, Gorrister. Is the bag filled with hydrogen or helium?
A switch. The label says, emergency inflation system.
Well, at this
Stomach's
point,
growling.
The only way out of this thing seems to be the hatch, but we're really high off the ground. So it seems that we're going to have to find some way to actually land this ship. First, I want to check the engine really quick. Because I think the first thing we have to do is actually turn off the propulsion system. I think we can do that with the fork. Basically just jam the works. So let's take fork and use it with engine.
That little fork short-circuited the engine wiring.
Alright. That did it.
Filthy.
Oops. Once again, use door. There we go.
My stomach's growling.
Yes, Gorrister, we know. Now we can see that the power light has turned off. So now we're just kind of basically floating. So with all these air bags around here, and the fact that we do have a knife, I'm sure you can imagine what we're going to do next. We have to lower this airship so that we can actually get off it. But let's see if we can control our landing, or else we're going to have a nasty crash. So, when we come back, fellow adventurers, that's going to be our task. Until next time, take care.